Hello, and welcome to this week's edition of Checks and Balances TV. Today's program is entitled, You May Think That Retirement Will Be a Picnic, but Your Pension May Be in a Pickle. So let's see how today's news may impact your financial future. The gap between public employee retirement benefits and the money that states have actually set aside to pay for those benefits widened in 2009 to over $1.26 trillion. State pensions accounted for more than half of this shortfall, with $660 billion in unfunded liabilities, while retiree health care and other benefits were responsible for the remaining $604 billion deficit. Okay, so what's really going on here? Let's check the facts using our checks and balances process. According to the research firm Pew Center on the States, shortfalls in state pension funding grew by 26% from fiscal years 2008 to 2009. Collectively, states have only $2.2 trillion to pay for $2.9 trillion in long-term liabilities. All but one state, New York, is underfunded. The Government Accountability Office recommends that states have at least an 80% funding level. Unfortunately, 31 states were below this level in 2009, 9 more than in 2008. For non-pension liabilities, namely health care, states managed to save just $31 billion to cover a $635 billion liability, which is less than 5% of the total amount they owe. And while state retirement systems can currently afford to pay their retirees, they're short more than $600 billion in their ability to pay for future benefit payments. Last year, at least 19 states took some type of action to better manage their pension liabilities, either by reducing or capping benefits, increasing the retirement age, employee contributions, or the vesting period, or by increasing retiree health care premiums. New York State, which currently has 101% of its funding liabilities on hand, has kept its statewide pension program fully funded by directing local governments and school districts to increase contributions last year to help offset the drop in the plan's investment performance. Illinois, however, has just 51% of its funding liabilities accounted for. In the past 2 years, Illinois has had to borrow several billion dollars just to make its required annual contributions to retired workers in their pension system. Okay, so maybe ask yourself, Matt, what does all of this really mean to me? Well, now that we've checked the facts, let's balance this news using our checks and balances process to determine what action you should take today. The recent Great Recession appears to be the leading cause for the shortfall in many state pension plans. Public pensions are backed by contributions from employees and employers, as well as any earnings from the investments of those contributions. And investment returns are expected to provide more than half of its revenue. When the stock market crashed from 2007 through 2009, so did the value of most state retirement plans nationwide. Public pension funds have been considered off limits to state budget cuts and alterations until now. The growing liabilities of state pensions are competing for funds needed for other state programs, such as education, infrastructure, and health care. 2 of the 3 major credit rating agencies raised red flags recently regarding the fiscal condition of New Jersey, citing the state's $31 billion public pension shortfall. As a result, the state was unable to pay its $3 billion pension plan contributions last year. In California, some cities had to lay off many of its public workers to cut costs, and other cities around the country are currently considering or are in the process of filing for bankruptcy. As economic challenges continue, a debate is heating up as to whether cities and states could or should change the pension benefits of their current public workers. Detroit, one of the hardest hit cities, is struggling to financially survive. With an official unemployment rate of 28% and evidence that the real rate of unemployment is as high as 63%, the city has had to take extreme measures to stay afloat. It has cut overtime for city workers, given amnesty to delinquent taxpayers, allowed casinos to set up shop in their city, sold some city assets, and many other creative ideas to generate revenue for the state. But it's not been enough. An arbitrator recently ruled that the city could reduce the payout that some current city employees will receive in future pension benefits. Okay, so what's the bottom line here? Unfortunately, pensions are going the way of the dinosaur. Cities, states, and even our federal government cannot sustain the current benefits promised while incurring growing liabilities. Pensions made sense when they were originally introduced in the 1950s. After World War II, many companies did not have sufficient money to pay their workers. So promises of future benefits, including a guaranteed income in retirement, is how many companies attracted and retained quality workers. But now the sheer number of recipients have made these liabilities so costly that funding them is no longer economically possible. And no matter how you look at it, whether you currently work for or are retired from a private company or the public sector, your pension is in a pickle. What was once a reliable supplement to Social Security is now facing the possibility of running out of money in the future. And now is the time to face the harsh reality that you may need a retirement backup plan. In the case of Michigan, when faced with extreme economic circumstances, Michigan's new state governor, Rick Snyder, set up requirements for troubled cities to adapt best practices to receive state funds. He said if the cities of Michigan are unwilling to make changes to their spending, then he would appoint an emergency financial manager to do it for them. The bottom line to all of this is no one else will ever care about your retirement as much as you will. You need to develop a plan B or C so you can still enjoy a comfortable retirement. And now for Matt's weekly financial tip, tool, or technique. Today's strategy is for those who are concerned about the long-term funding of their pension. Here are 3 potential options you can consider to make sure that any pension shortfall won't drastically impact your quality of life in retirement. Option number 1, consider a lump sum buyout. If your employer is offering a buyout for your pension, consider the offer. Compare the current value of the lump sum amount to the potential future monthly payout from your employer, and then decide what makes the most sense for you. Public pension managers estimate an 8% annual return on their investments. Although that kind of return is unlikely in today's economy, ask yourself if you think you could manage and grow your pension buyout better than they could. If so, take the money and run. However, if this money comes from a qualified plan, be sure to roll it over the lump sum amount you receive into an IRA account. Otherwise, it may become fully taxable to you. Option number 2, accept the lower potential benefit. Unfortunately, due to the vast majority of states that have underfunded their pensions currently, lower pension payouts and decreased benefits may soon become a reality for most workers in the near future. If there are no buyouts available to you, you may have to ride out the pension crisis the hard way. However, ask questions early and often of your plan administrator. Find out what they're planning to change or cut as soon as possible. Each state is different. It's important to reevaluate your retirement plan and adjust it in case there is ever a decrease in pension income or benefits. And option number 3 is create your own retirement plan. If you don't have a pension, or if your pension is facing a shortfall or even elimination, it's critically important to have a retirement account of your own to depend on. So if you're still working, make the tough choice today to put more money away every month. If you increase your own savings and investments, you can still plan on being financially independent in retirement. No matter which of these 3 options are available to you, it would be wise to meet with a professional financial advisor first to go over all your options together with them. This is just too important to go alone. In this week's CBTV poll, we're asking Americans an important question. Do you have a pension plan? Log on to answer this poll at www.checksandbalances.tv. In our On the Street segment, we travel the country to ask Americans what they think about an important financial topic or issue. For this week's show, we asked people about their pension plans and how they were planning on using them in retirement. Be sure to log on to our website to view their responses. And while you're on the site, be sure to watch the newest episode in our Truth About series, which is available now. And it's on the Truth About bonds. You will learn the pros and cons, both sides of the coin, on this important financial product, so you'll know if it's the right investment for you. And finally, remember that only you can control your financial future. You can succeed. You just need confidence and determination. I'm Matthew J. Rettick from Checks and Balances TV. Until next week, dump debt, invest wisely, believe in yourself, and make it happen.